Hi class, in this video I want to walk you through homework problem number 8. Okay, so here it goes. In a clinical trial, 28 out of 271 patients taking a prescription drug daily complained of flu-like symptoms. Okay, suppose that is known that 2.8% of patients taking competing drugs complain of flu-like symptoms. Okay, so what they're saying is 2.8% of people are experiencing this flu-like symptoms as a side effect. Is there sufficient evidence to conclude that more than 2.8% of this specific drug's users experience flu-like symptoms as a side effect? All right, and it says test at the alpha is equal to 0.01 level of significance. Okay, so first off, what it asks first is for you to perform a simple number check to see if you can complete the hypothesis testing. Okay, so there's specific sample size requirements. Okay, so the first part is because n times this p sub 0 times 1 minus p sub 0. Okay, what p sub 0 represents is it represents the believed population proportion, which is 2.8%. So we're going to take the 871 people, multiply it by p sub 0, so times, changing this to a decimal, 0.028 times, and then in parentheses, 1 minus that. So parentheses 1 minus 0.028. Close the parentheses. And you get 23, and the problem says round to 1 decimal place as needed, 23.7. Let's move my calculator over here. So because 23.7 is blank 10, well, the requirement is it needs to be greater than 10, and the sample size is blank 5% of the population size. Well, in our reading, we know it needs to be less than 5% of the population size. And the sample, the thing that you have to resume here is can reasonably assume to be random. Okay, that's important. Doesn't necessarily have to say, you know, it's been given random, but it can reasonably assume to be random. It's fine. The requirements for testing the hypothesis are satisfied. Let's check. Excellent, we got it. Okay, so what is the null and the alternative hypothesis? So the question says, is there sufficient evidence to conclude that more? So the key word there is more. So what that tells me is my alternative is going to be a greater than. So you have to choose first for your hypothesis. Is it a p, a mean, or a sigma? Well, this is a proportion problem, so you're going to select p there. And the null is always a statement of equality. So it's p is equal to whatever the initial flu-like proportion for flu-like symptoms is, which is 0.028, versus p needs to be, we're testing to see if, no way, this specific drug is greater than that number. Okay, great, we got it. Next, it says find the test statistic, z sub 0, and round to 2 decimal places. So to do this, what you're going to do is you're going to load up your StatCrunch here. Okay, you don't want to do any of this stuff by hand. All right, and to do this, what you're going to do is you're going to go stat, and then whenever you're dealing with a proportion, it's always going to be proportion stat, one sample, and they're giving you the summary of data. So the first thing it asks for here when you click on this is the number of successes. Well, if you look, it was 28 out of 871 patients. So 28, number of observations were 871 patients. We're performing a hypothesis test to see if p is equal to 0.028. And our alternative here is no way, this specific drug, we're going to notice a higher percentage of people who experience, or higher proportion of people who experience this flu-like symptoms as a side effect. So you're going to hit compute. And you're going to see this. So it's said to go to 2 decimal places, so it's 0.74. So I'm just going to copy 0.74, put it in there. We got it. Next says find the p-value, round this to 3 decimal places. Well, looking here, here's our p-value right here, so it's 0.229. Awesome, we got it. And then the next one here is you got to figure out if you're going to reject or fail to reject. Well, first off, our p-value, 0.229, is greater than our alpha, so it's either going to be A or B. And when your p-value is greater then your level of significance, you do not reject the null. So you fail to reject the null. We got it. All right, class, I hope this video helped show you how to tackle problem number 8.